work so hard for our state. We're blessed to have Rock Island Arsenal. It really is involved in about 7,000 jobs across both Illinois and Iowa. Very important economic activity. Over $1 billion of economic activity is generated just by the Arsenal. And it is important that we listen to the Arsenal and all those who work there and our leaders. I've toured the Arsenal. I know how important it is to the economy of Western Illinois and how important it is to our country. We have to remember how all the technology that is there, all the hardworking men and women who understand how to get a job done for our country, and we have to listen to what their needs are. And we have heard repeatedly that it is very important to have a direct, nonstop flight from this great airport, Quad City Airport, to Washington, D.C., where many of our military folks in the Pentagon are located. And to have that daily flight is super important to the economy of Western Illinois and really to our country. And so thanks to the great leadership of our legislators, we were able to pass a bill that contains funding for a 3-year plan to get this off the ground, $1.5 million over the next 3 years, each of the next 3 years, to really involve and get an airline to do this flight from the Quad Cities to Washington, D.C. Locally, there are folks here who are going to raise some of the funds, about, I think, around $400,000, to help pay the entire amount necessary to maintain these flights for the next 3 years. That would be about $1.9 million a year, 5.7 altogether. We know that once we get this direct flight from Quad Cities all the way to Washington, D.C. on a regular basis, that this will have a market. That's what we're believing in. We believe in Western Illinois. We understand there are people here who really are going to Washington and other places from Washington, but oftentimes have to take a circuitous route. They have to go to another airport, wait, sometimes there's delays. That's not efficient. And we understand from our military, efficiency is absolutely imperative for the Arsenal. We know that the Arsenal is a very important part of the Illinois economy, and we want to maintain that Arsenal for years and years to come. And in order to do that, we've got to make sure we listen to what their needs are. And I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce and all the people who worked on this mission. It's been something that I know has been on the agenda for quite some time. And I think it's very important that today we are getting the job done for the people of Western Illinois. Jobs are number one. Economic growth is number one. The Arsenal produces jobs. It has all kinds of other economic activity, subcontractors, businesses that also have jobs. So doing this flight is very, very important to our state of Illinois and to everybody else. And without further ado, the Senate sponsor, the person who helped push this through is Mike Jacobs. And say a few words. Mike, take it away.
First and foremost, I want to welcome Governor Quinn home because the Quad Cities has certainly become a home designation for Governor Quinn. Governor Quinn has always been there when we in the legislature have worked hard to bring projects to this area. And I'm talking today about things like the university campus, the $80 million university campus, the $100 million road construction project on John Deere Expressway, and today the announcement of new air service that's going to save 7,000 jobs. I also want to thank my friend Pat Shore. Pat Shore does a great job, and Representative Mike Smitty, we work together as a team. It's very important that we work together. When you fight each other, you end up with nothing. When you work together, you end up with JOBS, jobs. I know you can't spell jobs without Jacobs. And also, too, I want to thank Governor Quinn for his work towards putting local people to work. Ann Snyder, who's a director of Department of IDOT, Illinois Department of Transportation, is a local kid and happens to be one of my high school classmates, and I'm thrilled as punch to have her there. But I appreciate Governor Quinn. I'm going to work hard for Governor Quinn because Governor Quinn works hard for us. Thank you very much, and good day.
Very well said. Very good. Well, you know, we have a rookie of the year in the House of Representatives, Mike Smitty. He's going to talk in a minute. But you also have to have a veteran who's there in the bullpen, who really gets the job done, gets the bill passed. and that's exactly what happened here. Pat for sure knows how to work with his colleagues, Democrat and Republican, in the House of Representatives. He made it very clear how important this investment of air service from the Quad Cities to Washington, D.C., nonstop, on a daily basis, is to the economy not only of this region, but this whole state of Illinois and the United States of America. So I really want to personally thank Pat for just staying with this important mission till the job got done. And take it from there, Pat.
Like I said last week, the governor said it's a weekly thing here, and I like that every time he comes to town, we have a lot of new projects and a lot of jobs, what Mike says, and that's important to me, especially construction jobs. But the governor touched on it, but I don't think we can emphasize it enough how important the Rock Island Arsenal not only is to the Quad City area, but to the state of Illinois and the whole United States of America. When there was a problem with our Humvees in Iraq, where did they come to? They came to the Rock Island Arsenal, and it was done that fast. I mean, they're on top of things here. And I want to just touch a little bit about what Mike says. Mike Jacobs, the governor, and IDOT, we were down here last fall when he announced the John Deere Road expansion, and Snyder was here. And like Mike said, it's always nice to have a hometown gal in the bullpen, as the governor said. I don't know about a reliever or not, but I'm in the bullpen if I can stay there, I guess. But anyhow, I think it's a nice turnout. I think this will be great for the Quad City area. I also want to thank a couple of my colleagues that helped me with this appropriations, Representative Arroyo and Representative Hoffman. They were instrumental in helping with this thing, and they're a couple veterans too, and that always helps. And then when we got my good friend Mike, we like Mike said, when you work together, things happen. Thank you very much for being here.
Two Pats and two Mikes. And our next Mike is a young man who just got elected, and he's really made a difference already. In the legislature, he's passed important legislation. He's a real leader, and it's real important to have this part of our state, Western Illinois, with a strong voice for Western Illinois. That's what Mike Smitty's all about. Mike, come on forward.
I'm just happy somebody called me a rookie and someone called me young for once. I want to thank the governor for his efforts in helping with this, but I also want to thank the Chamber of Commerce here in the Quad Cities, along with Matt Hughes, who was also a lobbyist in Springfield, who worked with the Department of Transportation to make sure that we got this important legislation done. It's very important to us with the Rock Island Arsenal because not only do they help out here locally with the manufacturing lab through Western Illinois University, but they are also the logistics leader for the First Army, which is very important to our troops over in Iraq and Afghanistan. So we need to make sure that we keep this arsenal here, and it's very important for the 7,000 jobs to make sure that our economy is not devastated by having that put on the Iraq Closure Committee. And as a lot of people have already said, and I think that Ann Schneider, our Secretary of Transportation, is doing a fabulous job, and it's great that she's from our local area, and I happen to represent her parents in my district. So it's extremely humbling to have her from our area, and I want to appreciate everyone being here today, and thank the governor for also being here to sign this legislation. Hopefully we can come back next Saturday.
All right. Well, in my office, every year, we meet with our Quad City Chamber of Commerce, and we understand how important it is for both sides of the river to work together. You know, I'm not one of these people who wants to kick the other state in the shins. I don't think that's a good way to grow. I think it's teamwork that makes the dream work. We had a dream here to make sure we had this air service from this part of our state, Western Illinois, Quad Cities area, all the way to Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. And the Chamber of Commerce and all those who are involved in the organization worked very hard on this. And I want to make sure that Tara Varney comes forward and says a few words. She's the president and CEO of the Quad City Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Governor, and I would follow on his comments to say that it is that great partnership that we have with many of the folks that have been mentioned already today, with our business community, with the civic community, and certainly with our military community. So it is a grand opportunity to keep this effort moving forward, and we couldn't do it without really a partnership. So I thank you, Governor, I thank you, Pat, and tonight, thank you, Senator Jacobs, and I would thank AM, she were here as well. But I also thank the members of the Chamber Board and community that are here. This allows us to move to the next step, and we are genuinely committed to filling the rest of the gap. There's a little more funding that's required. That is not insignificant, but it's important to demonstrate that we have a long-term, genuine relationship to make the Western Illinois region continue to grow and thrive. And I do think that those 10,000 people that have been moving back and forth to Washington, D.C. for many years will have a great alternative thanks to this effort. Right now, they might be going through, they could go as far as Denver or to Dallas to make a trip to Washington, D.C. So this is a great opportunity to offer a new connection. It will be a hub to Europe as well. So we think it will do many wonderful things for not just the Arsenal, but also for the many businesses that are thriving here. The iFly program, if I might just take, I'm sure you're going to explain it, Governor, but that doesn't come up specifically, but it is a program that's set up specifically to help underutilized services to get launched. And it allows the gap to be filled. There's some requirements on it. This bill that these gentlemen evolved gives us the opportunity to make it work for our region. So it lets the funding serve the gap that we know exists, and it will be very helpful to have that 3-year opportunity to build the market and make sure this does continue to thrive and operate on its own. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that is the kind of legislative effort that lets us take the opportunities the business community can bring to the table and work with our great elected officials to make sure we are creating great jobs. So without any further ado, I will thank you.
All right, thank you, Thank Phil Banaszak, Board Chairman of the Rock Island County Board, for being with us. Scott Reyes, he's with us last week and this week, the same way with John Thodos from East Moline and Scott's from Moline. I want to thank Wayne Dawson from Milan for coming over, and Jim Janis, Quad City Airport Board Chairman, and Jim Bonsack, who was the Commissioner of the Airport Board, Steve Geifman, who's with First Equity Chairman of their Air Service Committee. It's very important that we do have local participation, and that's going to be really big. Doug Holkwitz, who is with the Chamber of Commerce here, the Chairman. Joe Taylor is President and CEO of the Quad City Convention and Visitors Bureau. We should understand that last year, for the first time, Illinois had over 100 million tourists, and we want to keep that growing. And folks have lots of things to see here. How about an eagle flying over the Mississippi River? You can fly from Washington, D.C. to the Quad Cities to see an eagle over the big river. And so those are things that are you can't do in your own hometown, so it's important to make sure that we have our flag flying high for our tourism. I want to thank Bill Cusick from Scott County, the Iowa County across the river. They're good friends, our supervisor there, Scott Lohman from the Lohman Companies. And if anybody has questions on this great initiative, now's the time. Okay, that's good, because I think we covered everything, and now we're going to sign this. This will be a law, and this law will give us the resources to make sure that we have an airplane opportunity for everybody in the Quad Cities, Western Illinois, and definitely for our good friends at Rock Island Arsenal. Okay?
By the way, these are really good pens.
Thank you.
One gave last week was awesome.
You've been using it.
I've been using it.
Get a pen away.
All right.
Can I wait?
He's ready for it, yes. All right, we better get this good man here. Get it? Yeah, okay. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Maybe over there. Now, John, because you're such a good man, you can help pass it.
I can do that for you, Governor.
All right, there you go. Good, sir.
Thank you, Governor.
Yeah. That's good. Ways to help too. There we go.